Want to get over to Steve Leisman, who's at the table. He's got a bit of news on the list of possible Fed picks. What do you got for us?
Good morning, Andrew. CNBC has learned the Trump administration currently considering now 11 individuals, including 3 names that have previously not been disclosed, to replace Fed Chair Jay Powell when his term expires in May. According to 2 administration officials, the 3 new names include Jefferies chief market strategist David Zervos, former Fed Governor Larry Lindsey, and Rick Reeder, who is chief investment officer for fixed income at BlackRock. I thought we had a graphic on that. But anyway, they now join a list of 8 other candidates that CNBC has confirmed are under consideration, including Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Mickey Bowman, Fed Governor Chris Waller, and Fed Vice Chair Philip Jefferson. Add to that NEC Director Kevin Hassett and former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh, mentioned by the president right here on Squawk Box. The officials described, quote, a deliberative process now taking place where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will interview each of these candidates, winnow down a list, and then pass it along to the president for a final decision. The size of the list and the process described suggests a decision not imminent. That could take a considerable amount of time, but the officials would not offer a timetable. The longer the process takes, though, the less likely there is to be a so-called shadow Fed chair in place approved by the Senate before Powell departs. Though sharply critical on an almost daily basis of Powell, President Trump has recently backed off suggestions he might replace the Fed chair before the end of his term. While many candidates on this list have advocated reform at the Fed, most have supported its independence, and they would appear to be a list of people with considerable either monetary policy, market, financial, or regulatory experience. Most of them also have advocated for rate cuts.
I mean, this could be a fabulous reality show at this point. I mean, we now have 11 people.
And you didn't mention Bullard either.
What's that?
You didn't mention Bullard.
Did I leave Bullard off the list?
Well, Bullard's on the list.
I don't think I named everybody, Joe. I just
Rick Reeder,
Larry
by the way, friend of the show, we've had him on.
Yeah, you read Larry Lindsey's stuff. He's brilliant. He's
very smart.
So what do you think is really happening here?
I mean, in the
fired.
first, what's that?
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
In the
Apprentice.
In the first instance, I think that the administration and especially Scott Bessent understand it's very important to come forward with a candidate that has the confidence of markets. You do not want to freak out the markets with this pick. There's no gain from that, and there's possible gain doing it the other way. So you look at this list and you say, okay, I mean, I can name somebody. I think the only question the market has is, does the president appoint somebody that is more loyal to the administration than to the institutional goals and aims of the Federal Reserve? Okay, so that's where the market might get freaked.
So
there's someone there.
We've had this discussion many times about whether there's actually a shadow Fed chair already in place. Right. We don't know their name, but the shadow Fed chair is there. We know that whoever that person is, at least we thought, was going to have to pass some kind of loyalty test where they were going to invariably lower interest rates if they were going to get that gig, right? That was the idea. The question is actually whether this throws some of that in doubt, because some of the folks on this list appear to be a little bit, I don't want to say more independent, but maybe willing to do their own thing if they were to get the gig.
Yeah. I think, Joe, work with me on this. This is interesting to me, and you too, Andrew, okay? The Federal Reserve Act allows the president to nominate this person, okay? So there is clearly some scope within the act for the president to nominate somebody on their side, right? It's not like there's an independent commission that comes up with the candidates and picks it. The president picks it. Right. So what do you want? You want somebody who will embrace your vision of your policy and the economy. Michelle Bowman, I think, was really interesting in her speech over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to report this, but if you go and read it, she says not only are tariffs not going to be inflationary, but she says nice things about other parts of the policy. Bernanke was inside the Bush White House as, I think it was CEA chair, before he became Fed chair. So there's got to be this sort of simpatico idea of your policies, Mr. President, are ones that I think will lead to lower inflation and higher growth. And a presumption of that. Part of the friction between Powell and Trump right now, Powell does not embrace that assumption. Right. He doesn't say tax cuts will lead to better growth, which will lead to higher growth without inflation. He doesn't embrace the idea for sure right now that tariffs will be a one-time price increase. He said it 3 times at the press conference, but that's not his operating principle here.
Right.
You get a Fed chair, they're going to come in and say, I embrace this.
But you would want someone, you wouldn't want...
Me personally, or you generally?
You wouldn't want G. William Miller to be, just because he'd screw everything up and keep rates low. But you know who appointed Volcker in the first place?
It was Carter.
JC.
Yeah.
And then Reagan reappointed it.
Right.
So you could say that
Strange
one of the
myself.
greatest
So, Joe,
things.
you are-
But Volcker was one of the great. But look what he did to Carter's economy.
But you are talking about something that I have been almost alone in advocating in this idea. How much help Powell is giving to Trump.
Right.
Right.
And he won't recognize it, but my contention is this, that Powell, by holding a hard line on the potential inflation from tariffs,
Right.
is keeping inflation expectations under control and perhaps staunching this idea of tariff inflation moving over into broader inflation.
Even more so when, if there is a slowdown generated by any of Trump's, take your pick for the people that hate his policy, he's got a fall guy too.
Well, that's what the Fed is there for. This is not new. Nobody's smarter than Trump in understanding this, but the Fed is there to be blamed.
So it hasn't happened yet. I went to Polymarket. I'm going to Kalshi as well.
Oh, do you have a...
I'm trying to see if these new names have been added yet.
Who's in the lead right now?
Well, it seems to me, hold on, I want to make sure I'm getting the right thing going here, but it seems to me, and you tell me, that the Kevins, if you will,
It had been worse.
had been at the height of all of this. Now, not so much. I'm trying to actually find it.
You don't know who the top
I'm
person-
not. It's not coming up the way I'm searching for it. But what is your sense? We heard about the Kevins last week. Kevin Hassett, Kevin
Yeah,
Warsh.
if it was going to be one of them, you wouldn't need 8 more people.
What are they off the list now?
I want to pick up on what Joe just said. Joe's idea, and then I'm reading into what you're saying. The idea was maybe they weren't satisfied with that.
Exactly.
And the president wanted a bigger list.
Yeah.
And said, give me more candidates. I have to think, although I cannot say this from the officials I talked to, that the process of the wider list is driven by the president. Right?
You would think.
Scott is not freelancing on this thing, I would not think. Just one more thing, guys, if you would. I think we may have a graphic on this. You know that the Treasury Secretary, I believe, was overnight on another show, talked about a 50. There is a modest, small bid of a 50 in the futures market this morning. It's not big. It's a 2.7% probability versus a 97% for a 25. But it's the first time we've really seen it show up in the Fed funds.
And just to answer your question, because I did not find it. So Waller,
there we go, right there.
by the way,
73.
I don't know if you believe whoever's betting on this. Waller now at 33%, Hassett at 22%, Warsh at 15%, your guy David Zerbos 9%, Bullard at 6%, Stephen Mirren at 6%. Shelton, they're not giving any credit to yet. They actually,
Mirren's not on the list.
I know.
Shelton's not,
They
but that's
put Besson on.
right?
They put Besson
Myron
on at
Mirren.
3%. They
Myron.
put Bowman on at 3%.
If they could put the wall back up before we go, guys, the person with the most experience in monetary policy is
Waller.
Waller in terms of contemporary, followed by Bullard. If you want a guy who's an expert, right now Waller is sort of maybe not quite that level. Stan Fisher or Richard Clarida, they were Fed vice chairs. Waller is that guy with the most monetary policy experience.
What's the blue?
The blue are the new guys.
The new guys.
Well, Logan's new.
Huh? No, the blue is Logan's not new.
Not
Reader,
in
Lindsay,
terms of being on the list. I hadn't heard. I hadn't heard Logan. I hadn't heard. No, I know, but I hadn't heard you as among the.
I just want to pitch, Mr. President, if you're watching the show, I think we would like to do a reality show in prime time right here on the network. We're just following the
you can
almost
say that,
apprentice-like
Andrew.
I would watch that show. I would watch that.
You don't want to get a one.
The Economist geeks.
You don't want an 11.
Andrew, some of us think the process is too important to actually be a reality television show.
By the way, on that front, I agree with you. Okay.
So some still have reverence for certain things.
Coming up, Kava stock is